How you gonna stop me? This is nonsense, this I roll with hectic and some monster risk. And it's like the microphone I'm kissing, use my intuition from the dome, just chin. Leave your whole mind itching, scratching your scalp, cold like an out when I roll close. Niggas don't know the mouth that I pose with, froze with, cold with, so cold with since the school days. Who choose who to blaze when I blaze? Press play, press stop, pause, rewind, blow with the mind. Penetrate your whole spine, make you wind your waist, and I'm finding a place, my whole style. This is hip hop apocalypse. Your whole style is preposterous. How you gonna stop me? This is nonsense. This I roll with hectic and some monster rich dudes that be on the rap scene. From the Paco to Hackney, whatever you call it, slang it, man. I walk with a little twang in my hand. With a bop and my sword and my glistening from the back when I style of the rap. This is hip hop apocalypse. Your whole style is preposterous. When I flip flows acrobatically like some gymnasts, get panicky, and my whole style is just anarchy. From the court of the keys, my reward is to please. Whatever the keys say, I do say, he say. Wanna talk about the he say, she say. I'm on I double. To get in trouble, I bubble with the crowd till the war start to rumble and my whole style throwing it hard. This is hip hop apocalypse. This is hip hop apocalypse. Make my people rejoice, it's oi. Till I'm pushing a Roy's roast. Get roast, be the host with the most. Your whole face is toast. In the force of my heat and you're forced to retreat. Get defeat.
Welcome everyone to BSC News Live, to the third episode. I'm just going to triple check that everything's working. My microphone seems to be on nice, fantastic. I've turned the music down, nice bit of hip hop intro there. And obviously we have Ben Antes, co-founder and CFO of BSC News, here as well with us. How are you doing, Ben?
Good, Tom. How are you? And I can hear you loud and clear on my end.
Good. Well, hopefully, this one's going to go without issue and technical hiccups, because the last couple, there have been a few technical things, but I think this one will be okay, which is good. So today's plan was to talk a little bit about responsible investing. So that's things like, well, mainly, not investing what you can afford to lose. Only investing what you can afford to lose. Things perhaps like impermanent loss as well. I know I mention impermanent loss pretty much all the time. We had a good chat about it yesterday on Trader Joe as well. So if you didn't tune in for that one, it's saved on the platforms that we stream to, which are at the top in those little symbols. So Twitter, we're live on Twitter right now if you're watching there. YouTube, all the videos are saved there as well. Very, very soon, we're going to be live on Rumble, hopefully in the next couple of days. And also Trovo. So if you're watching from Trovo, big shout out to you. I know that there's a large sort of Chinese audience from Trovo. So I don't know any Chinese. I might try and learn some for next time so I can say a hello. But welcome to viewers from all the different platforms. Hello. Before we begin, Ben, I've got a few topics to talk about and things. I've got a Bitcoin chart in front of me. I was just going to quickly show people as well, because a lot of people have been quite excited about the markets recently. Is there anything you want to just begin with at all?
No, I think we could dive into the chart. I actually have the show up on the second monitor here so I can see it.
Fantastic.
And I do want to say there's a lot of chaos at my house right now, so I'm going to do my best to manage background noise. The kids seem especially excited for a Friday morning.
Well, it is a Friday. It's exciting.
Right.
However,
it's exciting here.
Yeah, well, I think all over the world, Fridays are something to get excited about. But if you're in crypto, it's 24/7, a million days a week. Markets never close, unregulated. The party goes on. Anyway, but yeah, I think actually one of the great things about crypto, Ben, is people being able to spend a lot of time with their families at home. So when I hear like background noises of family, pets. I think that's a good thing, because I think it's very good to be close to family and things. And I think working from home, as a lot of sort of crypto professionals do, like yourself, I think it's quite a blessing to have little people or whatever running around your house. So the more the merrier.
No, I agree with that stance. It makes the work-life balance way more attainable, right?
100%.
I don't have to get up and leave the house at 6:30 in the morning to get to work and come home at 6 p.m. I just have breakfast and I walk in this room. So
yeah, you're already at work as soon as you wake up.
Work, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Cool. Good. So yeah, the Bitcoin chart that I have on the screen now. So I sort of copied this from a few Twitter posts and popular posts that I've seen, and it shows perhaps cycles of Bitcoin. So the green is arguably a bear market, and then the red is a bull market. You might notice as well that the charts that I use are in opposite colours. For some reason, I think this is normal, and I've done this ever since I've started sort of within crypto. So green for me is down, and red is up, and I think that might be the way that they do things in a lot of sort of the Asian trading community as well. But I don't know. Anyway, that's sort of what I very, very first started with ages ago, and I just stuck with it. Anyway, so this chart sort of shows. It could show, it could be random, who knows, and people are just picking at straws, is that correct term? Anyway, cycles of Bitcoin bull and bear market. So the green, a little bit of a bear market, but around here, it's sort of hard to tell because Bitcoin was in its real infancy, sort of around 2010 to sort of 2014. Obviously, it gained popularity and things, and the all-time low was around $2. Imagine getting Bitcoin at $2. Wow, yeah, I would buy a lot, basically. And then, we have a nice little bull run all the way up to 42K right there, and that's in around... that is 42K. Wow, yeah, that's around 2013. Then another little bear market, dipped down to 34, and then once again, back up to around 53.7. That's in 2017, and then dip again back down to 46, and then all the way up. This is the recent bull run that we had to. I'll just get the number correct. Around, depending on what exchange you're looking at and things, around 68, 69. And people are saying now, sort of using just these, sizes, that, we're due for another bull run. So hopefully here, where basically we are now, people are thinking, well, it's time for a bull run. So what I could do is just copy and paste another red section here to show, there's a bull run. And if we zoom in as well, so at the moment I'm on a weekly chart, which is quite a long time frame, we can see that things are, sort of starting to pick up. But who knows? Again, to an extent, I think charts are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, if we didn't have charts, and only one person in the world had charts, I think there would be no patterns at all. Because, people, for instance, if we turn off logarithmic view, and I'm just going to turn off these little indicators as well, and use, say, a Fibonacci retracement. So people use these levels, for example, to trade, and they sort of, fit them around places where, there might be a bounce or something. But because, pretty much every Tom, Dick and Harry is using these tools, everyone is doing the same sort of thing, if that makes sense. So to an extent, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So people draw fib retracements, expect stuff to happen, and because other people have done the same, it sort of does. So I think if no one in the world had charts apart from one person, this would just look completely different. I don't know, and I don't know why at all we use Fibonacci patterns. Anyway, Ben, that's sort of what I wanted to start with. But what do you think about the self-fulfilling prophecy of patterns on charts?
I think there's a lot of truth to that, because right at certain levels, people are gonna, on the way up, people will start to short, and then I guess, but there's other people that also know they're gonna short, which means there's an opportunity. If you get enough longs, right, you'll get the shorts underwater. So it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it also is always battling sentiment between the shorts and longs at any level, right? That makes sense. So, like, I personally don't really look at the charts. I just believe the number will be bigger later, at some point in time. Otherwise, I wouldn't be investing in it. And I don't day trade or anything like that. Maybe some swing trading here or there with some smaller tokens, but yeah, obviously a lot of people trade, but also keep in mind a lot of people lose trading. So
big time.
That means that they can't totally be a self-fulfilling prophecy if most people are losing money, right? So that's the counterpoint.
Yeah, I mean, there is a statistic, I think that it's somewhere like Robinhood or one of these big centralized exchange platforms that mainly deal in fiat. A figure from them, when you're signing up to their platform, as like a warning, they say, I think it's around 70% of retail investors lose money on trading. And that, can be for a number of reasons. I think mainly, perhaps, because, they see, their investment go down and they think, okay, well, F this, I'm just going to sell. Which
it should be, yeah.
I've done. Unfortunately, that was back in the day, old Tom. But being diamond hands isn't always the best option whatsoever. Obviously, if you're diamond hands with Luna, respect. But there's a clip of the YouTube streamer KSI saying, like, he thought he was going to be really cool going into Luna. He's buying the dip, and I think he put $1 million in, and then it was worth 50p or 50 cents in America. So being diamond hands, and perhaps what a community says, people are saying, don't sell. How are you going to, in inverted commas, get rich from crypto trading if you don't sell? Unless the whole world and every single, shop, retail outlet starts accepting crypto, you're going to need to sell at some point.
Yeah. I hate that whole, like, don't sell mentality, because, like, everybody's needs are different.
Yeah.
So, like, I may buy a token because it's like, all right, we're planning on going on a vacation. If this $50 turns into $1,000, that, like, basically will pay for our vacation. Perfect, I'll sell. I don't need to see if it turns into $10,000, right?
Yeah.
It might not. I honestly don't care. And I don't do a lot. I think I used to be like, oh no, if I sell now, what if it does another 10x? I really don't care about that type of stuff anymore. It'll just be like, cool, I turned 50 into 500. That's amazing. I'm going to take that $500. Right?
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's good to know. And I think, that's a very wise thing. What I do, I sort of have a vibe or a feeling, when retail, on Twitter Spaces or just around, the whole sort of crypto sphere are starting to get, really happy and comfortable in crypto. They're saying, oh, this is the bull run, we're doing great. That's the moment that I think, well, okay, hold on. I'm going to start to, maybe milk a bit of the cow here. Not that I have much cow to milk, but I think that the phrase, people always attribute it to Warren Buffett. It's be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. But it's easier said than done, to be honest. Because if Bitcoin in the next 2 days went to, say, 2K, I would really think twice, well, has the world just gone to poo? It is hard to be greedy when fearful and fearful when greedy. But often it can work. But there is risks. And that's sort of, what this chat is going to be like. I've also got up on my screen, Ben. Obviously, you were saying, a sort of battle between longs and shorts. So I've got up on my screen the Bitfinex longs, which is the candlestick chart, and also the shorts, which is the blue line at the bottom. We can see for the longs, they've reached an all-time high sort of from mid last year. And what we can do as well is actually put in the Bitcoin price to sort of see when that was. So, for instance, it looks as though they reached an all-time high when Bitcoin nearly was at its couple of year low. So often Bitfinex, whales trade there, a lot of people say and think, and that's the sort of general consensus. So it looks as though whales could be leveraged in longs waiting to go up. However, there could be a terrible long squeeze as well. A long squeeze, a long stretch. Who knows? But I just thought that was quite interesting. Often these shorts and longs, in comparison to the Bitcoin price, especially longs, are in inverse correlation with the price of Bitcoin, as we can sort of see here. It crosses over, and interesting stuff. Well, I find it interesting.
Yeah, I would like to see if most interest is long. That would actually, make me a little nervous that most likely at some point the longs have to either start closing positions, so they don't get liquidated essentially, which means the selling of Bitcoin to close the long.
Yeah,
I really like when there's a ton of short interest, because at some point people need to close those positions and they have to buy Bitcoin to close the position.
Yeah.
So if the longs are starting to get a little top heavy, I'd expect that at some point, we're losing momentum. At some point they have to say, all right, we're taking profit. To de-risk essentially. So I don't know. Where do we think we go from here? I'm kind of, we just made a huge move is the reality. So, a dip, a pullback, something along that nature. I don't think, we went from 17 to 23, 24 in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So coming back down a little bit makes sense at this point. It's a monster move. So I don't know. Sideways sounds good. Let the things cool off.
Indeed. I mean, it is, the Wild West. So as we said earlier, only invest what you can afford to lose. As you can see, crypto is very, very volatile. Up on the screen now is a little sort of bar chart from CoinGlass, and CoinGlass offer on-chain analytics. Obviously, with centralized exchanges, argues this is not really on-chain, but a lot of centralized exchanges have their reserves on-chain. So you can, of course they'd need to be on-chain, wouldn't they? You can't take crypto off-chain. But these are statistics from centralized exchanges showing the long to short ratio. At the moment, it's on a 5-minute period. So we can see, during these 5 minutes, people are generally bullish. But then we can switch. You can only go up to 24 hours on average. But on average, normally, it's around 50-50. And sort of no matter what's happening in the market, it's normally around 50-50, which is quite interesting. There might be a discrepancy here and there. One exchange might be 98% short or something. But it's quite an interesting thing. Coinglass.com/long short ratio. Anyway, moving on a little bit to. I want to ask you something here. Is that Bitfinex that is actually in the favor of shorts at the moment? Big time. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
So that actually, I like that.
Yeah.
Because of exactly what I just said, right? Because so that means even if the price started to come down, shorts are going to say, all right, let's take our profit, let's unwind. So if the majority interest is short, obviously it's not by a huge amount, but it's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Most people are expecting to see the price come down, and I don't think that most of those people are going to think we're going to come down a lot, right? This seems more like a scalp opportunity than like a we're gonna swing now, all the way to this downside. Although some people think we're at this big short moment in the world, I disagree with that. So we'll see, but that's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if the general consensus at least 2 years ago or so was, Bitfinex is the place to look for Bitcoin price and big Bitcoin trades and things, and Binance was, this dude I used to know, basically, I'll just say that, said, Bitfinex controls Bitcoin price, which, obviously is not true whatsoever. And then Binance is the place to look for Ethereum. But I don't know if it's still, the case that large whales use Bitfinex. I'm not sure why perhaps they would over Binance. Maybe, I don't know, country regulations. Obviously, Bitfinex own Tether, so that might have some sway in it. But not sure. But it is interesting to see that, this is a last 12-hour average, that all exchanges are pretty much bang on 50-50, apart from Bitfinex, which is 2/3 of their positions are short. Very interesting. Anyway,
it is.
Moving on. So, as I said, this little discussion is going to be about safe investing, staying safe within crypto and things. And one thing within crypto, often when you're swapping a token on a DeFi exchange, maybe like PancakeSwap, you might find that the price that you wanted to get might be a lot worse than you initially envisaged. And this often is due to something called front running. Perhaps it's, you've entered too much slippage. And what happens is you put in a trade and then another person, a smart contract that a person's made, will see this and put in a higher gas fee than you've put in to essentially, for their transaction to be processed before yours, but in the same block. So both transactions are processed. Theirs first, which will be for a lot higher amount, which will, say if you're buying, will push the price up for you, but not for them initially. And then what they'll do when that price goes up after you've bought, they'll then sell. So it's just a quick up, down, like that. It's also called a sandwich attack. However, to prevent that, there are a number of ways you can do it. Obviously, researching the exact amount of slippage you need to use and crossing your fingers. You can use a service that sponsor this series called Bloxroot. And they're at the bottom right at the moment. You might be able to see them, you can see them on the screen. It says win DeFi trading. Visit Linktree /Bloxroot down at the bottom there. So all you need to do when you're setting up a MetaMask wallet, obviously you need to enter an RPC URL. And they've got their own. It just said Ben got kicked out. Let's going to invite him back. Sorry, I'm not sure why that happened at all. Okay, I'm just going to invite Ben back. I have no idea why that happened. Anyway, so what you could do, you can use Bloxroot's custom RPC URL. And what that'll do, it'll prevent you getting front run or sandwich attacked. Like if you're on Twitter or something for a project, you might see a person make a massive buy and then a massive sell, and people are saying, what was the point in that? That essentially they're using you, and also it drains liquidity as well from the project's liquidity pairs, liquidity pool. Hopefully Ben will join us back in just a moment. He's there with a little blank screen, looking rather sad. I'm just going to send him a quick message. Hold on a moment. Yeah. Okay, anyway, we're going to move on to the next thing. I'm trying to get Ben back in. I'm not sure what's happening. From Monday onwards, we're going to be using a different service from the one that we're using at the moment. Obviously, with the one that we've been using at the moment, you might have noticed there's been like a few technical hiccups, for instance, like now. And yeah, we're going to be changing that come Monday. Hold on just a moment. I'm just going to click. Actually, no. Let's try and get him back in. Right, Ben, where are you? I've just generated a new link for him. Okay, so I've generated a new link for Ben. So fingers crossed, he's going to be able to come back in, because I mean he's half the show. We will try and move on though. So the next thing that I wanted to quickly talk about, being safe online and things. So I've got it all here. Oh, Bloxroot, first of all. Yeah, there it is. I thoroughly recommend them. I use them. Is gas prices. So on BNB chain, it's not necessarily something that we have to worry about too much. But on, for example, Ethereum, which we're looking at now, arguably it is. What this website shows here is gas prices in a sort of animated fashion. So it's sort of easy to understand, and you can see exactly what's going on. The characters look a bit like South Park characters, which is nice and fun. You can click on each one and have a look at each transaction happening on the blockchain as well. So all of these little characters, South Park people or whatever, represent a transaction. And what you can see, the buses at the front, the different prices for each block. And when you're doing a transaction within Ethereum, you'll be able to choose your gas price. And the higher your gas fee is, the quicker that your transaction will get processed. The lower it is, the longer it will take, and also it could fail. But what you might see is, during popular mint times, when people really, really want to get a mint, they'll put gas prices, 1 or 2 ETH even. I haven't seen that happen for a couple of months now. During the bull run, that was happening quite a bit. But at the moment, I haven't seen it. The piece of music that you can hear now just reminded me of a meme, so that's why I smiled. Anyway, this is gas prices. What we can see, essentially, people are queuing up for a bus and bidding on different gas prices to get at the front of the bus. And it's represented by little South Park characters, which I think is good fun. And it also shows you the different protocols that transactions are coming from as well on the left-hand side. And then we've got the low fee line. So if you don't mind, how long your transaction takes, you'll join this long line and just wait. It'll probably happen, but it just might take a long time. But with BNB chain, gas prices at the moment, it's not really something that we necessarily need to worry about. With Ethereum, in the very long run, gas prices could come down. It depends on lots of factors. It looks as though, I'm not sure Ben will be able to join us, which is a shame, because I've added him on using multiple ways, and it's going to be something using, so the program that I'm using at the moment, we are going to change from this weekend. It's been difficult. It's quite customizable, but it's caused the problem. Well, I'm going to pretend Ben's here. I don't know, maybe I've got a picture of him I could use. Anyway, moving on. The next website that I want to show you is called Token Sniffer. So I did a podcast with Token Sniffer a while back. I think maybe might have been like a year ago now, or half a year ago. And what Token Sniffer does, it scans a smart contract. So what you can do, you can just literally paste in a contract, and it'll tell you an overview of the token. What we can do as well, or used to be able to at least, is it showed you sort of in real time new contracts being created. If we just quickly go on PooCoin, and let's get up a random token. Can we just browse newly created pairs? I don't know. Obviously, there's PooCoin. I don't want to use. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we could use PooCoin. Okay, Okay, here's PooCoin token. So I'm gonna use Token Sniffer to scan this contract. Ben, if you can hear me still, which I think you can, all good. Yeah, I mean, I've refreshed and generated new links, but yeah, from Monday onwards, we're not going to be using this program. We're going to be using something different. They sent me a free T-shirt, this program, by the way, like 2 days ago for using them, but it's not good. I'm not going to name and shame. It's probably user error anyway. Okay, right. So the PooCoin token. How do we look at it? How do we see? If it's okay. If it's dangerous or anything. I will show you. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to get the contract for it. So it should show somewhere here. So here we've got a BSC scan link. If we go on here, the token PooCoin, all we need to do is copy the contract address, which is there, paste it back into Token Sniffer, and there it is, pops up. And it'll show us any red flags. However, PooCoin sort of, being a very, very established project, I doubt anything will be, major red flags. There might be certain things that can be explained, and we'll go through that in just a moment when this loads. But it is definitely a good tool to use if you're getting into a project and you want to perhaps know, could it be a honeypot? And a honeypot is, if you didn't know, you can buy the token, but you can't sell it. So essentially, you're just giving money to the project scammers. I don't want to call them founders or anything, because they don't deserve that title. Okay, so that's taken a while to load. What I'm going to do, I'm going to load up just like a random Churro token. I don't know what this is at all. Seems to be taking a little while longer than it normally does. Actually, no, this one, Brainut. So this is deployed 9. Oh, it looks as though. Okay, right. So this Churro token, it's got a score of 0 out of 100. So if it's got that score, ask the moderators, that sort of thing, in their Telegram, Discord, questions. If you get blocked, in a way that's good, because then major red flag, get out. If they can explain, why there's these, not necessarily issues, but functions within their smart contract, then that's up to you. It's entirely your own decision. So let's see why it's 0 out of 100. So obviously it's sellable, buyable, great. Ownership isn't renounced. What that means is that the contract owner essentially can edit the contract at any time, doing anything they want. So to deploy a contract onto a blockchain, well, a person with an address needs to make it and then deploy it. And then often what happens, they'll renounce ownership, so they can't edit it anymore at all. But that hasn't happened. And the next thing is the owner, or the creator. What it scans for is that it contains less than 5% of the circulating supply. Here, it contains 67.57, and that's unlocked tokens. So they'll be able to sell a very, very large amount at any time. We'll look at the chart as well, because I don't know what's going to happen. What has happened with this? I don't know it at all. Liquidity and analysis, liquidity pool not even found. Okay, so it might have just not launched and they're still working on the contract or something. But let us have a look on PooCoin and if there's any transactions at all. Hold on. Churro. Yeah, because there's no liquidity pool. So what it might be is that it's just not fully launched yet. I don't know, but there's multiple reasons why a contract might not get 100 out of 100. Anyway, that is tokensniffer.com. It's a very, very useful website. Indeed. The next thing that I wanted to touch on was hardware wallets. So what I use, I'll show you. Hold on. I do recommend using a hardware wallet. Obviously, they are a little bit more, software wallets are obviously free, but hardware wallets, they cost a little bit, but you are arguably a little bit more safe. So I have actually got 2 Ledger Nanos here. I've got a Ledger Nano X and a Ledger Nano S. The Ledger Nano S I use for... I don't interact on the blockchain with this at all. I literally just send crypto to and from this. So it doesn't really get used that often. Also, the buttons at the top... hold on, you might be able to see. No. A tiny... hold on, if I go like this and like focus on my hand, and then... Okay, yeah, the buttons at the top... Yeah, you can see that they're very small. Whereas on the Nano X, they've got these 2 big buttons either side, which are a lot easier to use. So I do prefer, using the X. Obviously, it's Bluetooth as well. However, the Bluetooth only works with your phone, which is fine. So I use the Nano X for interacting on the blockchain and things. Then I've also got a SafePal wallet, which is customized for BSC News. Oh, bosh, there you go. Very cool. And I use this as well. What's good about this is it's got a little camera on the back. Hold on again, let's get in focus. So you can scan the QR codes of smart contracts. And that can be really, really useful. One great thing about this as well, the SafePal wallet, is that it's completely air-gapped. And well, what is air-gapped? Well, let me tell you, young man or woman or anyone, let me tell you. So with a Nano S, you need to attach it to a computer for it to work. It hasn't got a battery in or anything. You need to tether it somehow to your mobile or computer. And obviously there's a connection there. And theoretically, a person could use that connection to, look at your private keys and subsequently, get your crypto. With the Nano X, you could say it was air-gapped if you're using Bluetooth, but then there's still that connection. There's a data stream between the 2 devices, which theoretically could be compromised, but unlikely. I use them a lot. I personally trust this. But then with the SafePal, there is no data transferred between the SafePal wallet itself and the device you're using. None whatsoever, which is very good. It just literally works on a camera. You probably fit it in your wallet. I mean, I'll show you how thick it is. It's not as thin as like a credit card, but it's pocket size. It's very rugged, and for what it does as well. Hold on. Okay, it's run out of battery at the moment, but never mind. For what it does, it's very cheap. I'm not sure how much exactly it is, but hold on. I'm just going to check. Let's have a look. SafePal. Here we are. So yeah, from what I can remember, it's relatively cheap in comparison to competitors. So yeah, here we are. $49, $50, which isn't too bad at all. You get a screen, you get a camera. The camera isn't going to take photos of your family and things. It's literally just going to scan barcodes. But for the air-gapped technology that you use and the hardware, having a hardware wallet, I think it's a very reasonable price indeed. Nano or Ledger is also, in my personal opinion, reasonably priced. So if we look at their sort of entry-level one, which is the S, or is there only the S Plus now? Oh, they discontinued the S. Oh, then they might have done. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like the S Plus is the cheapest you can get, which is £69. So that's about, £70, $80, $85. And then there's the one that I prefer to use, which is the Nano X, which connects via Bluetooth, which is a little bit more pricey. I've got it in funky purple. And then they've just released this. Let me know what you think of this. I want to get my hands on one and use one. Estimated shipping May. But I think they look really cool. A Ledger Stacks. So, yeah. What they're used for, as it says here, day-to-day use of your crypto and NFTs with clarity and comfort. And NFTs. So it looks like a little book. And what you can do Here it is, yeah. You can stack them up. However, doing that at their cost of, let's say, well, £250, 4 would cost you nearly $1,000. So obviously it's perhaps not affordable for everyone, but I think it's a good concept. They've also got this quick video here that doesn't play, but that's all good. But yeah, I think being able to see your NFTs and things on one of these devices is really good. I don't know much about it at all, apart from these pictures and what Ledger have said. It looks a bit like that called e-ink, I think. Yeah, e-ink. But who knows? But I swear that I've seen like colour NFTs on one. Or have I? I'm just going mad. I don't know. But yeah, does look cool, doesn't it? Yeah, a bit of, I don't know. One, there's another hardware wallet as well that I'll be able to tell you about in the future. So these are the two sort of brands that I've shown you today are Ledger and SafePal. Both I use both of them. I think both of them are great. And yeah, I recommend them. And why wouldn't you use just a software wallet? Why do you need to use one of these? Well, with a software wallet, your private keys, or essentially the gateway to your wallet, is just stored on your device, and a lot more hackable than, say, a hardware wallet. If someone gains more knowledge or access to your private keys, it is game over. That's all they need to access your wallet. And you should never, and you might have heard this so many times before, but you should never, ever, ever give your private keys to anyone. The only person that you should give it to is maybe a solicitor or lawyer who is going to put it in your will. And obviously don't, show them it, give it to them in a sealed envelope or something. But there's no reason whatsoever, ever in the world for a project to ask for your private keys or an exchange. That is the biggest red flag in the world. So private keys, no, they're yours, they're private, and they're keys. Okay, moving on. There are a couple of bits and bobs that I wanted to talk about as well. One of them is impermanent loss, but we might leave that for when Ben joins us back, because he is quite a pro at DeFi. Well, I like to think he's a pro. It might just mean that I'm not, as experienced as him, perhaps. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about impermanent loss with him, because I think he probably will know it better. We had, as I said earlier, a great discussion with Trader Joe about impermanent loss, because their sort of concentrated liquidity models are really interesting. There is a higher risk of impermanent loss when using concentrated liquidity, but there are obviously benefits also. Anyway, as I said earlier, from Monday, this is going to be different. We're switching streaming service because, well, I don't know what's happened with Ben. Apparently it kicked him out and he can't get back in, which is disappointing to say the least. So yeah, we're going to be switching streaming services to a completely different one, which should, fingers crossed, go a lot better. Also, we're going to be live at 3 p.m. every weekday. If there is an event, for example, at the moment, like Battle of the Dapps, which I'll get onto in just a moment, that will be sort of transferred to BSC News Live, but maybe at a different time. Also, you might be able to see at the top right that it says live every Wednesday, 3 p.m. UTC, but 5 p.m. starting on the 13th of February. So on the 13th of February, we're going to be starting at 5 p.m. UTC, and this is to accommodate different people around the world. So we found that starting at 3 p.m. might be a bit too early for some people. However, 5 p.m. seems to be the best. Obviously, we can't accommodate the whole world, but it's the best that we can do. So starting the 13th of February at 5 p.m. That's when it'll be in the future. And there's Battle of the Dapps this evening. So this is the third round of Battle of the Dapps. If you tuned into previous Battle of the Dapps, the standard is really, really high. That's going to be at 7 p.m. UTC on our Twitter, which is at the bottom, just at BSC News. 7 p.m. UTC today, so that's in about 3.25 hours. Something to look forward to. And we hope to do the final on BSC News Live, sort of with cameras and also with a visible timer. Because at the moment I'm using a Stream Deck, which has a little countdown on it, which is fine, but it would be good for the public and participants perhaps to see that countdown as well. And also maybe get a visual overview of their project, which would be good. So that's a couple of things coming up. So tonight, 7 p.m. UTC, Battle of the Dapps. Don't miss it. Obviously, if you've got really urgent and things to do, it's your decision, but you can always just have it on Twitter Spaces in your pocket. Anyway, we'll be back, BSC News Live, 3 p.m. on Monday, but then starting on the 13th, we'll be here at 5 p.m. We've got some really, really impressive guests coming up as well. We'll be announcing some big guests, such as Injective. They're coming up. We haven't actually announced that yet, so just keep it on the DL. But some really high quality, really interesting big guests, and more large sort of blue chip NFT projects as well. Obviously, we had Pudgy Penguins. That was fantastic. And it was really interesting speaking to Trader Joe about their concentrated liquidity. I could talk about that all day. And also, Mr. 10 from Lend. He's an incredibly interesting guy. So he's worked a lot in traditional finance and obviously crypto, DeFi as well. And his, what he can say about traditional finance, fractional reserve banking, that sort of thing. And, that the public don't really know about it. It's worrying. Anyway, that's a discussion for an entirely different time. A couple of take-home messages before I say au revoir. At the bottom, you can see we've got a link to something called Bloxroot. So what Bloxroot will do, you enter a custom RPC URL for the BNB chain, and it'll prevent you getting front run. It's a really good service, genuinely worthwhile, and it's designed for retail traders as well. Hold on just a moment. I'm just going to actually sort of read a little bit about them more in depth. So to solve this problem, Bloxroot created BSC Protect, the first professional grade, absolutely free, front running and sandwich prevention tool available to retail traders on the BSC chain. Takes around 30 seconds to start using BSC Protect and get protected. Yeah, all you need to do is add their RPC URL. And Bob will be your uncle. Also, another thing, never ever give your private keys to anyone. There's no reason for it whatsoever. Only invest genuinely what you can afford to lose. You might think, oh wow, this looks good, I'm going to ape in half of my savings. It's not worth it. The risks, or think, are the risks that genuinely could happen, are they worth it? Anyway, it's been wonderful talking to you all. Please join us again 3 p.m. on Monday and also 7 p.m. UTC this evening for Battle of the Dapps. Anyway, speak soon everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy trading. Bye bye.